This is Planet Music.
From the makers of Planet Marzipan.
In a streaming world, we're proud to be a podcast that celebrates the art of the album. Okay, well, welcome to Planet Music, an occasional podcast about our love for the album. I'm Mezza. I'm here with my podcast other half,
Craig.
As you can see from the title of the episode, we're here to talk about Queen's Hot Space. And we've got two guys with us who know a lot about the album. So welcome, Mikey Kay.
Hi, guys.
Hello. And welcome back, Grae Tennick.
Evening, how are you?
Very good, mate. Very good. Yourself?
Yep, doing well.
Okay. Well, we're trying to sort of cover a lot of bases with the albums that we're covering on this podcast. And we're all fans of Queen, but we thought we'd go for a slightly more controversial choice in the much maligned Hot Space, didn't we?
We did, but I don't think it's controversial for any of the four of us. I think it's controversial. It was just the way it was received, I think, because of the change. But it's not actually... It's got better with age. I think the reception for it's got better with age.
Yeah, yeah.
And considering that, you know, I was aware of Queen when this came out, I was only 10-year-old and wasn't really a Queen fan per se until got into teenage years. So for me, when this came out, I didn't really pay that much attention to it. And so I didn't really know how much of a change this was, because when I listened to this album properly, it was years after, you know, it was probably about 1988, 87, 88, 89 when I really heard it for the first time. So to me, it was just an old Queen album.
I think I'm the only one that's old enough to have seen Queen prior to this album, aren't I, on here?
Yes.
So I saw them in 1980 at the NEC on what was effectively the Flash Gordon tour, but yeah, only played two songs. But I remember how it was received at the time. We'll talk about that more as we get into the album. But yeah, I mean, Mikey, how old were you when this came out?
7, 8,
9.
Was that?
You were 9.
Oh,
yeah.
Maybe I was thinking of the game actually. Yeah, I was thinking of the game now.
Okay.
But see, this is the thing. I was thinking the same thing that Craig said there. A lot of my getting to know Queen happened it was almost like a Netflix binge, because, like Craig said, we got into Queen sort of like Works and kind of Magic time.
Yeah.
Massively so by the time The Miracle came out. So then it was dive into the back catalogue and just, you know, every other month when I had enough pocket money or work money saved up, it would be, which one haven't I got? I'm going to buy it, take it home, listen to it. And I actually think I remember getting Queen 2. And that to me was more jarring than Hot Space, because I was like, why are they singing about ogres and elves and, you know, fairy fellas and things?
Because it's 8 years before. Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
You know, when you're doing a Netflix binge on music, it's, you know, it takes everything out of context. Now, to me, Hot Space is more of a natural progression than a jarring change in style. When you've gone from the game to the Flash Gordon soundtrack to Hot Space and then to the Works, to me, it's a natural progression.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I think this was going to happen.
Some of the stuff on the game, you know, Dragon Attack, Another One Bites, it was all leading towards this, wasn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
See, the thing with me though, I think probably my first real big exposure to Queen was the film Flash Gordon, because when that came out in, was it like 1980 or whatever?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I remember going to see that at the pictures at the ABC on Westgate Road with Joss, my sister. She took us to see that, and we loved it.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, it was I'd grown up with Queen, so I remember. I think I was only 4 or 5 years old, But I remember the Christmas show on, you know, when they had the
1975. Yeah.
yeah. So I was 5 years old, but I remember that because I was allowed to stay up and watch it because my dad was a huge Queen fan.
Yeah.
And we lived in Europe at the time, and we used to drive back to see the family. And my dad had 4 or 5 albums that he would put on, and Queen Life Killers was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, was it 80, 81 Greatest Hits came out?
Yeah.
And so I'd been growing up with Queen. Then I got Greatest Hits. There was the Flash Gordon movie, which I fell in love with. I had 3 or 4 albums, but this was the first album that I bought with my own money. I bought 2 albums on the same day. This was one of them. And I immediately fell in love with it, partially because it was mine, but also the music was addictive. It really is.
Yeah.
Um,
Shall we talk? We'll do our normal Wikipedia entry, and then we'll get stuck into some of the tracks, shall we?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just trying to. I just got distracted there thinking back to Flash Gordon. Sorry.
Eddie, down boy.
Cordelia Moody, who was Ming's daughter in the film.
Sorry, I'm not going to say it. I won't say a word. I'll be good.
No.
Okay, I'll let it get
Leave it,
published.
Lloyd.
I'll let it get published.
It was a different time. All right, stop it. So from Wikipedia,
for an 80-year-old Craig, you know, come on.
From Wikipedia, Hot Space. Hot Space is the 10th studio album by the British rock band Queen. It was released on the 4th of May 1982 by EMI Records in the United Kingdom and by Elektra Records in the US. Marking a notable shift in direction from their earlier work, they employed many elements of disco, funk, R&B, dance, pop and new wave music on the album. Combined with the ongoing backlash against disco music, this made the album less popular with fans who preferred the traditional rock style they had come to associate with the band. Queen's decision to record a dance-orientated album germinated with the massive success of their 1980 hit Another One Bites the Dust in the US. Under Pressure, Queen's collaboration with David Bowie was released in 1981 and became the band's second #1 hit in the UK. Although included on Hot Space, the song was a separate project and was recorded ahead of the album before controversy over Queen's new disco-influenced rock sound. The album's second single, Body Language, peaked at number 11 on the US charts. So, yeah, as it said, the album was released on the 4th of May 1982. It was preceded on the 19th of April by a single, Body Language. Should we talk about the album in order, or should we talk about the single? Or
Well, we'll do it in order. We'll
Do the album in order.
let's go back to the album then. So, Body Language was the first single, but the album itself starts with a track called "Staying Power," a Freddie Mercury song.
It's the thing is with this, and I think a lot of people have mentioned it. This is the first album where there's so many sexual innuendo kind of messages in songs. You know, that all. It's a very horny album, especially the first.
No.
Right.
Get Down, Make
I
Love.
was going to say Get Down, Make Love.
No.
Good old fashioned Lover Boy.
No.
There's loads of previous stuff, but this was
Yeah, don't let me
it's
now.
so-
Come on.
I think you need to.
there.
I think you need to retract that, Craig.
Okay, I'll retract that. So, yeah, I'm in love with my cards. Doesn't quite.
Well, you never know.
Ooh, a messy exhaust pipe.
You went there, didn't you? You did.
I think "Staying Power" is a great opener.
I think it's a brilliant song.
Yeah, it's got Arif Mardin's horns on it as well. It's a good statement of the first side of the record, if I'm honest.
And it uses does it use the OB1 for bass? It uses a synth
Yes,
for
it does,
bass
yeah.
and John Deacon's on rhythm guitar rather than on bass for it, which was quite common for a lot of the album, I think.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant, and it's got that. I mean, it's funny. Everybody goes about it being a disco album. For me, it was a funk. There's more of that funk drive to it.
Yeah.
And I think was it NME? Was it NME or somebody? So somebody at the time wrote a review when it was released, and the headline was "Dirty White Funk." And that was the name of my first ever band. So when I left, yeah. So the guitarist that I was with, a guy called Grae, who's unfortunately passed now, was the biggest Queen fan I've ever met in my life. I'm absolutely obsessed. And we made a 4-piece band, and we did things like, we did a couple of Queen covers, we did some A Living Colour, so a lot of sort of funky rock stuff.
Yeah.
And the name of the band was Dirty White Funk, and it came from this album, and he loved it.
Fair enough.
It's got such a groove on the song.
It has. It's got, it's quite fast as well, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
It's not as fast as a live version of this, but
Well, everything they played from the album on live was just, God,
sped up massively. But we'll talk about that.
Well, yeah, there's the live versions like sped up a lot and a lot heavier, a lot rockier.
the whole,
So there's a big disparate sound between the live versions of the songs and the studio versions of the songs.
yeah.
But it's an
Mikey?
entertaining opener.
Mikey?
It's wonderful, this track. It's really driving. It kind of it does set the tone for the rest of the album, or certainly side one. I think side one was probably them doing the experimental stuff a bit more than side two. I think side two attracts more standard Queen songs.
Yeah.
Certainly, they kind of stick to their own instruments on side two more, but they play each other's instruments on side one.
But wasn't side one mainly recorded in Germany, whereas side two was mainly recorded
In Montreux, yeah.
In Montreux, yeah.
I think it was that way around. Yeah.
This is, to me, sort of like a natural progression from Don't Stop Me Now. It's I mean, far from being similar, but just that the drive. You can't say anything other than what they said on the back of the album credits, where they said Arif supplied the hot and spicy tones. It is what it says on the tin, really. Releases a single in Japan only, which I think's a crying shame. I think
Absolutely. I think it would have been a great first single in the UK.
Yes.
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Far better than Body Language, but we'll talk about that shortly. I think Fred's vocals are just on it.
So I think his vocals on the whole album are just superb.
What you do find a lot, and certainly again with the songs on side one, there's a lot of lyrical repetition going on.
Yeah.
You've got the power word, you've got dancer next, then you've got back chat, then you've got body language. It's like the very hard hitting.
The rhythmical
style, yeah, absolutely. It's like he's putting his vocals in as an instrument.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And there was a promo 12-inch put out at the back end of November '82, shortly after the Japanese release, with a 5-minute 51 remix by John Luongo, which is.
It's not. I played it tonight for the first time. It's not massively different until you get the middle breakdown. That's when it changes.
It's kind of like not a massive difference, but that would have been a lovely 12-inch version for us in the UK to have had.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I think it's a bit of a miss.
Okay, on to track 2, Brian May's Dancer,
which is really odd to think that this is actually a Brian May song.
You think?
So I don't struggle with that at all. So it said if you look at a lot of it says, oh yeah, it's look at Dragon Attack and that kind of riff.
I could see the Dragon Attack
The
thing.
first thing I hear when I listen to this, so I'm a huge Deep Purple fan, and what I hear is the Glenn Hughes, David Coverdale era, Stormbringer, Burn, the funky rock stuff. To me, it smacks of Brian May trying to fit in with the rest of the album at this point. Do that funky dance stuff, and
I think certainly on side one he does struggle to sort of stamp his mark on a lot of things, doesn't he? But this is he's all over this.
But I love this song probably because I love that Glenn Hughes period of Deep Purple so much, with that driving sort of funky style of rock. It's brilliant.
But again, it's keyboard bass again, isn't it?
Yep, he played the riff on the sequencer.
Yeah. Craig,
It's a canny tune. I think it's entertaining, and it belies all the problems that they seem to be having in Germany. I mean, they were kind of to say hedonistic is probably an understatement, and
Well, they've all said that, haven't they?
yeah,
For the
you
years,
know,
that
and
period was dangerous.
there's a yeah, it was dangerous to them and dangerous for their relationships.
Yeah.
And I think what you said is right. I think it's Brian May's almost attempt to keep up with what was going on over there, because weren't they pretty much writing in two camps at the time, where it was John Deacon was writing with Freddie,
Yeah,
and Brian and Roger were writing together. So
yeah.
To be fair,
and
I
this
think they
one,
were pretty much writing in four camps. I think,
yeah,
I think,
yeah,
I think at this point, ego and drink and other recreationals were taking the toll. I mean, certainly Freddie was very on board with what John was doing, and I think that set up future writing partnerships for tracks on the works, and certainly with Kind of Magic. I think the germination of them working together started here because I think they realised, in hindsight, that John Deacon was onto something when, you put your biggest selling record, which was one that he penned.
yeah. Another One Bites the Dust was their biggest
You
selling
know,
single, wasn't it? So
it was a no-brainer that they were going to go in that direction. And there's been a lot written about how certain people were trying to influence Freddie, and we don't
Paul
like rock.
Prenter.
We think you should go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was going to say, yeah, that
it has been alluded to, and it has been said by both Brian May and Roger Taylor in interviews. But I have to say, I'm going to put out another podcast here. I was watching on YouTube literally just yesterday. There's a podcast called Dope Yeah Talk, and they literally 3 weeks ago interviewed Peter Freestone, who was obviously a PA to Freddie.
Yeah.
And he actually said, yes, Paul Prenter was there and he was a bad influence, more so in later years than earlier years. He says, but he was surrounded by two or three others that were equally as bad. But he did say that it was John Deacon that was pushing the band harder than anybody else. And he says the one thing to say about Freddie is he wasn't going to get told by anybody what to do.
No, I think he wanted to go in that direction. Certainly, when you see how Mr. Bad Guy turned out,
yes,
Freddie was
absolutely
pushing for what John wanted as well. Yeah,
So who did
and
you
I
say
think
that
that's
was
why
with?
he could.
Did you say that interview was Brian May or Roger Taylor?
it was
Which
Nick.
one?
The dope you.
On the podcast, it was Peter Freestone.
Peter Freestone, Freddie.
Yeah, but oh right, okay, yeah, because there was an interview. Was it 2011 or something? With Roger, and Roger said categorically the direction was John Deacon.
Yeah.
And Freddie was more than happy to go along for the ride.
yeah.
Well,
I think a lot of those interviews 2011 were for the reissues when the remasters.
Well, Brian certainly got in on Dancer. The next track is John Deacon's. Oh, sorry.
Can I just mention one thing about Dancer?
Yeah.
Which is the bit at the end of the telephone call that you hear.
Yeah.
That was actually a wake-up phone call from the hotel they were staying in, which is obviously in German on the record, and it translates as "Good morning, you wanted to be woken up."
Okay, there you go.
That's only half the thing, because the rest of it is the cocaine's on top of the toast.
Track 3 is John Deacon's Back Chat, which was released as a single in
August '82.
August, quite a way after the album.
But the singles have been, apart from Under Pressure, which was released previously, wasn't technically part of this campaign. The singles really didn't do anything in the UK.
Well, at least they remixed Back Chat. They tried, didn't they?
Yeah.
I like the track. I think it's great. It fits with everything else on that side.
It fits with the rest of the songs on the side, yeah.
For Deaky, it's a good track, I think.
It was a top 40 hit.
Yeah.
Just.
Well, that's okay, yeah.
But, I mean, I think it's the weakest song on the side. I think it's a good song. I think
the weakest song on the side is Next.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll discuss that when we come to it.
I'm sure we will.
Because it goes back to Mikey's. So the repeating, biting lyrics from Freddie, the way he does it, the aggressive. It drives the song as well. And
But it hasn't let up. You've had 3 tracks of really up tempo music, haven't you? You know.
But if you think, if this wasn't a Queen song, if it was by another kind of contemporary artist in the disco
Chic?
thing,
Something like that,
yeah, if it'd been like that, but if it had been if it had been 2 or 3 years previous, because the one thing I would say about side 1 of this is it did miss the boat by a couple of years at least, you know, because we'd come through punk, we'd come through disco, you'd started to get into, you know, everything from your like 82, 83. You're coming into like new wave, and you're coming into, you know, the Smiths, and you're coming into Duran Duran, and you're coming into as a big change, and this is very much a callback. And I know there's been things where, you know, half of side 1 you would expect to be in some kind of German gay disco kind of thing. I get where a lot of the pushback is, and the way a lot of people didn't like where they were from, because it was progression for the band, but it wasn't progression musically for the time it was released.
I was just looking, because there's quite a famous thing in America where a DJ invited folks to a White Sox game to burn disco records. But that was 1979, so that predates Another One Bites the Dust.
Yeah,
The thing is, though, the music was still played. The disco music, the funk music, that kind of driven stuff was still being played in clubs. Whether you're talking gay clubs or straight clubs, it was still being played in clubs. And Freddie and John Deacon went to clubs.
Yeah.
So it was still the music. They were seeing people driving dancing and enjoying that type of music. They'd had the hit. Why not make more of it?
Yeah. I think the Disco Sucks movement was mostly driven by bigots, really. I think they were just trying to control black people and gay people. And those who loved the music and wanted to listen to music just kept on listening to it and kept on making it. And quite rightly so. No different, really, to how jazz was ostracized, you know, at the turn of the century.
I mean, am I dreaming? Am I right in saying that Michael Jackson references this as one of his influences for Thriller?
Yes.
I think he references the entire album as an influence.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The album itself.
Yeah.
There are
that goes around, comes around, really, yeah.
Right.
There are people who speculate that, you know, there is a massive influence, and there's a lot of parables with Thriller to this album. So it's, you know,
I've not heard that before, I must be honest.
There's a few Queen review sites and a few YouTubers who have purported this.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think Backchat's a great song. Commercial, you know, again.
Yeah, it's kind of tune.
Make that the first single, and we might be talking about a different reaction to the album as well. But
Go on, Mikey.
I was just going to add a few things. I mean, Deacon plays practically most of the music on this track, and this was actually part of the sessions following Under Pressure. It was way before they got to Munich. And Brian really had to fight to have his say on this record. Now, I wasn't 100% aware, but I always thought that Brian's guitar work was meant to be the person at the receiving end of an argument fighting back. It's like screaming guitars, you know, and having read what Brian May actually said, that was his call back to John Deacon. He was like, look, you know, your song's about an argument. Let's have something aggressive in there. And he bloody went for it with the guitar work on there. And it's noticeable that on Dickie's remix, and especially on the extended version, he kind of dials the guitars up a bit, which are slightly dialed down on the album version.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good example. You know, everybody talks about it being a disco album and the guitars being dialed back and what have you. Because I haven't done the homework over the last few days, even on the non-guitar tracks, when the guitar's there, he really goes for it. And I mean, it is really, really good. And even when there's only like a couple of riffs or a couple of bits towards the end, he still gets his layered guitar parts in, or he gets his searing solos in. It's not led by guitar, but there is still plenty of guitar there.
I think Dancer is led by guitar because it's got those riffs in it, but this isn't. Backchat's not, and Staying Power's not, definitely. And Body Language definitely isn't. If there's any on it, but yeah. Okay, so let's move on to track 4, which was the first single off the album, Freddie Mercury's Body Language.
It's very overtly, as Grae said, this is very overtly sexual. This is a very horny song. It really is a horny song.
It is. It's a sleazy song. Like,
It is,
really
but
kind of down and dirty.
It works for what it is. Whether it was a sensible choice for like a lead single, probably not.
Did this make the Chinese and Japanese releases?
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
Which is made because Get Down Make Love was removed.
It was, yeah.
I don't understand how this got past the censors, because it's even worse.
And in fact, if I remember right, when Greatest Flicks, the Greatest Hits video came out, this video wasn't on it.
Was it not?
If I remember
it got banned.
right.
It got reduced to nighttime only play, post Watershed play only on MTV, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was nighttime only play on MTV, and so yeah.
I'm just looking on Wikipedia. There is something we've just referenced it in the 2011 documentary Queen Days of Our Lives. Jim Beach described Hot Space as a disaster, really. It didn't appeal to the hardcore Queen fans who would turn up to concerts with the Disco Sucks banners.
Yeah, but they didn't play the songs like disco songs on the live shows.
Didn't.
They were all so much heavier.
Anyway, I'm getting off the point. Sorry, we're talking about Body Language.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst Queen songs for me. And I love Queen, and this is just shockingly bad. It's barely there. It's a huge mistake releasing this as the first single.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's a single.
I don't think it's worthy of the album, if I'm honest.
Come on, Mikey, what do you think?
I like it, but I kind of half agree with John. I think this was Freddie flexing his muscles. I mean,
literally and figuratively.
Again, if you look at the credits for the album, I mean, he practically, apart from a tiny bit of guitar at the end, plays everything on this track. It is almost a prelude to his forthcoming solo stuff down the road.
Well, and what happened with that?
Yeah, but the structure of the song's strange. You don't get your first verse until like a minute and a half in. It's like it's been chopped up and organized in a very jarring way. And the word body alone appears in the song 31 times. Again, yes, I have. It's like
what?
It's almost like a mantra thing going on, isn't it? And and I think there was some subliminal messaging going on as well with Freddie at the time, because you've got printed on the album cover like the down arrow and the 3 hours to the side of it.
Yeah.
And throughout the tour and certainly even slightly beyond, he started wearing arrows on his shirts and jackets and things.
He did.
Some people have alluded it to being about the club he was going to at the time. Can't remember the name of it. What was it called?
Where, in the UK or in?
No, we're talking New York here.
Oh, I don't know. Studio 54.
Was it New York or was it San Francisco?
No, it was definitely New York, the one I'm thinking of. Anyway.
It could have been something easy it could have been for catering, 1 arrow means down that he wants a fake roll, 3 hours across means he wants 3 jabby dodgers. It could be anything like that.
And the sleeve itself portrays the arrows.
Yes.
On the 7-inch single anyway. Which mothers in Woolies weren't going to pick that up for the kids, were they? I'm surprised Wolves even stopped it.
Apparently,
It's,
they played it on the American leg of the tour. They played it live.
What?
They played it live on the American leg of the tour. I didn't know that. The first European performance was in Vienna on the 13th of May, and it was played every night on the US and the Japanese leg of the tour.
That surprises me, I must
It
admit.
does me. I've never heard it. I must look out for bootleg. I've not heard it live.
no, can't say I have.
Anything else to say on body language, or shall we move on?
I'll definitely move on.
Yes. Track 5, last track on side 1 of the record. Action This Day, Roger Taylor song.
You can tell it's a Roger Taylor song straight away.
Yes.
Straight away. You know, it's almost like listening to it a bit, it does guide you in the direction of where he was going to go to with Fun in Space.
Yes, very
Fun in
much.
Space
So.
had been there.
A bit.
Only be, was it
Fun
Fun
had
in,
been out.
was it
Sorry?
Fun in Space the year
Do
was
you
the year
mean
before?
Strange
Was it
Frontier?
Strange Frontier, that was it, yes. Strange Frontier.
Yeah.
We'll get me
Fun in
years
Space
wrong.
came out after the game.
Yes, and then Strange Frontier was 84, wasn't it? Just before.
Yes, correct, yes.
Before the works, yes. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
where I was.
yeah.
That's where I was heading on it. Yeah.
It starts with a driving drum track, doesn't it?
Drum machine.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a Lin and the Lin DM1 or whatever it's called. Yeah, it's a drum. It's a drum.
Okay, but it's set to, again, to keeps up with the tempo of the rest of side 1, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah.
There's certainly more Brian on this, and the vocals are shared by Roger and Freddie. Anything on this one, Mikey?
Loads.
Go on then.
Craig will tell you, a big Roger Taylor fan. Always had a
As
bit of
we
a
all
crush
are.
on him back in the day. He writes some of the best Queen songs for me.
Yeah.
They're always kind of on the pulse of what's going on in the music industry at the time, and I think he brings that into the Queen albums. His are always very standout tracks, and this is one of them. It is a very new wave kind of sound. Kind of sounds to me a bit like, could be Blondie, could be certainly The Knack, Police, Talking Heads. It's got that sort of like new wave vibe to it. And the thing that is really noticeable about the song is the time signature, because it's in 2/4 time, which is quite rare in popular music. One of the ones you'll know off the top is Stop the Cavalry by John Louis.
Yeah.
Because it's got that. It's just, a lot of marching songs are in 2/4 time. So you've got Revolution by the Beatles is in 2/4. I'm a Believer by the Monkees. But so is the Nursery Rhyme, the Grand Old Duke of York. It's got that, marching quality sound to it. Yeah. But I bloody love this song. I think it's absolutely amazing. And that the duets, like lyrical something between Freddie and Roger, just top notch stuff.
So it's not just the fact that he does the music industry. He does social commentary really well as well.
Oh yeah,
all of the he tends to do that in all of his Queen songs. And it's that driving beat, and it's like, so who did the saxophone? It's got the saxophone solo on it. They did that. They did it live, but it was a synth?
It's been a sequence. It'd be a
It was a
sample
synth,
live.
wasn't it? Yes, sample.
Was it a sample or something?
Yeah,
Oh, right,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, there was a synth.
Yeah, but it's one of those songs that is just incessant, because it's that
It's driving, yeah.
And it's a brilliant way to finish a side of an album, because you're just like, okay, what's next? Bring it on.
Yeah, it's
Trying
underrated.
to see who played the sax, but I can't see it.
Dino Solera.
Was Dino Solera, yeah.
Dino Solera, yeah.
Okay.
And when they got to the live shows, they replaced him with the keyboard player Morgan Fisher, who was formerly Mott.
From Mott the Hoople, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good track. I like it. Roger, his standard was pretty good right across Queen's career, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I entirely agree with he wrote more of the better songs than anybody else, but he was consistently good. His lyrics are more straight-ahead rock and roll for me usually.
Yeah. mean, I've got a soft spot for Brian songs.
Depends what they are. I mean, yeah, on this album, they're pretty good. Yeah, on these solo albums,
Oh no! Right, his solo albums are like
yeah.
they're so up and down. It's unbelievable. I've got them
Yeah,
all.
don't you start dissing. Yeah, don't you start dissing Starfleet.
No, not
No,
Starfleet.
I've got the
Big,
original and the box set, and
Back to the Light might be a good place. Anyway,
yeah.
but, yeah. So that's the end of side one. Unless you've got anything to add for action this day, Craig.
No, I think it's a top tune, and it is. I think that would have been interesting if they'd taken a gamble and did this one as a single, because it would have appealed more to Queen fans, I think.
And around that time, it would have fitted in, like when Mikey said, obviously the Talking Heads, the Police, all that kind of
It's a bit more of a contemporary song, definitely, than the disco funk style stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Over onto side two. Track one on side two is Put Out the Fire, Brian.
It's a Queen song, though, can't you? You can tell this is a bit more of a traditional.
They're all Queen songs, track. Craig. It's a clue on the cover.
But no, yeah, but this was an experimental album for them. But
well,
Put Out the Fire,
as Mikey said, I think it was Mikey. Side two is more
traditional,
straight ahead Queen tracks. You know.
Yes. Yeah. No.
So yes, it's a Queen song. Yes.
A Queen song.
Yes.
And you can tell it's a Queen song.
Brian and Freddie sharing lead vocals on this one.
That's corking.
Grae?
I love it. And I like it. It's funny. Is it next? Is it the next one? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it is. So this juxtaposed with the next track, because obviously this is written about Michael Chapman's point of view.
Yeah. From
Lennon. Or, you listen to the lyrics and what have you, and then you've got next. And it's such a powerful song, even without understanding what the lyric's about. It's a really powerful riff, a really powerful lyric, well performed. I mean, Freddie is on fire on this album.
Has Brian come out and said that these lyrics are from that angle?
Yeah, I believe.
My take on these lyrics are about old-fashioned gun law is dead. Like, you don't need guns. Put out the fire. That's my take on it.
Yeah, right. So it was written from the perspective of Michael Chapman and being able to take on the hero of the day, and you can be able to get a gun. But the premise of the song is that you don't need the guns, you don't need to be able to do it, and you need to get rid of them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm trying to remember when it was first documented, but he has come out and said it was based on that idea to begin with.
Yeah. As Craig was trying to say, it is more of a straight ahead Queen rock song, isn't it, than anything on side one. I like it. It's it's good. It's better than what's coming next. But
it's funny though. Do you think that if they'd actually made this the lead song on the album, it would have allayed a lot of fears?
I think it would have created more complaints, because people would have got the album home and it's not like this track.
Yeah.
I'm sure the band wanted something that would signpost the new direction, which is why they picked Body Language.
So did you just say it's far better than what comes next?
Absolutely. I know the reasoning behind the next track, but it's one of Freddie's worst lyrics.
Okay, Mikey, though, what do you think of Put Out the Fire, though?
What do I think of Put Out the Fire? Brian, for me, can sometimes just be a little too blunt with his lyrical style. And
sorry, you like Roger's lyrics?
I do, but
I want to make love to you, baby. Roger's lyrics,
Yeah, get to the back of the car.
That line in the middle of the song, towards the end of the song, just makes me cringe every time I hear it, which is the people get shot by people with guns.
With guns, yeah.
It's just, I'm just like, no, Brian, you can write better than that. The rest of the song, I love.
Remember that phrase? You can write better than that. I'm going to say it again in a minute.
For me, side one of the album, as much as I love it, I think it fell down a little bit in that as much as it was a change, and as much as it was a direction that we kind of felt they were going to go in any case, certain parts of it sound a little sparse, and I think that's because you haven't got the harmonies between Brian, Roger, and Freddie singing that you're used to. I think there's gaps in the music, there's gaps in the production, and on this track, you're getting it properly for the first time. You can hear those harmonies coming together, and it's a hard hitter. It's a really good song, and quite rightly, it's on the Queen's Rocks album from '97. It's not like everything on Hot Space should be lauded for not being this or not being that or being too this or too that. If it's on Queen Rocks, then
Queen Rocks was assembled by Brian May, wasn't
it? Yeah, well, there wasn't too many others who were going to do it at the time, was there?
No. I'm sorry, I want to defend that lyric. I think that's fine. I think that lyric is absolutely fine. But, you're entitled to your opinion, and so am I.
I prefer the song Shoulder Holster.
Well, you wouldn't have said that 2 weeks ago, would you?
I certainly would not.
That's a hark back to one of our other episodes. If you've not played it, Elton John, Blue Moves.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to track 2 on side 2. Life is Real, Song for Lennon, a Freddie Mercury song. Grae, go on. Come on, Grae.
I think you should go first.
Well, no, because I'm going to disagree with you. So do you want me to do that before you say something?
You say it, and then we can disagree with you for once.
Okay. I understand the timing of this song and why he wanted to write it. I just think it's some of Freddie's worst lyrics. Where should I start?
At the very beginning.
No, because there's some real... music is my mistress, loving like a whore. Lennon is a genius, living in every pore. Life is real, life is real, life is real, so real. What the fuck is he on?
Well, toast, like I said before, with cocaine earlier on.
Sleeping is my leisure, waking up in a minefield. Dream is just a pleasure dome. Love is a roulette wheel. Life is real. What a load of crap. Anyway, what do you think of it, Graham?
So it's a Lennon fanboys tribute, and written when it was. And I mean, as far as I'm aware, he'd written it I think he'd written the lyrics in response to Lennon's death, and then wrote music to the song.
Yeah,
to create the song. So I can understand somebody who was a fan of Lennon just writing shit down. It may have, I'll agree, it could possibly have done with some editing or some tweaking or what have you to make it a fully fledged song. But I understand the sentiment of it, and I love the arrangement of it, and I love his performance.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, if it's a tribute to Lennon, the way that John's going on about the lyrics being like absolutely atrocious, look at Imagine as a song. Everybody loves Imagine, but lyrically, it's awful.
I know.
So you can say that,
I'd just like to say, listeners, that was Craig Houston that just said that.
I'm going to back him up, but I'm a McCartney fan. I'm sorry, but
so am I. I'm a McCartney fan, but I can appreciate Imagine for what it is.
Yeah, but lyrically,
it's not as bad as that. It's not. I mean, look, I'll defend Fred to the hilt, but that is one of his worst. I mean, there's 2 tracks on this album that I would leave off. Body Language on side 1 and this off side 2.
But you don't defend Freddie at all, then, do you?
I do defend Freddie. Freddie is or was absolutely amazing. He really was. I mean, he made some duff moves. I think this album heralds a bit of a downturn in Queen's output for me. And I know that some of the guys on here don't feel that way, but Kind of Magic's not a patch on what had come before this album for me. But if it was a new album to you at the time, as it was for Mikey and Craig,
yeah, I mean, for me and Mikey, you're talking. It was the works. It was Kind of Magic. It was the Miracle. That was when we were, getting into them.
Yeah, but I was around when I remember buying Jazz on the day it came out. And that's a completely different band you're talking about there.
Yeah.
No, that was the jazz singer with Al Jolson. Was the one you bought on first day?
No,
Could have
you
17.
see, I read the covers, Craig, you know?
I suppose, yeah, when you're thinking like Dragon Attack, Dead on Time,
Oh,
all that, you know, and
Yeah.
then you look at some, yeah, I get it.
look, I love Fred. I just don't think that the lyric on Life is Real is very good.
I think the better songs on A Kind of Magic are better than this, though.
Well, maybe we'll do Kind of Magic another time. And we can disagree again. Craig, what do you think about Life is Real?
I like it as a song. I've never really delved into it because I understand, I've understood from beginning that it was a song for Lennon, but if you didn't really dig into the lyrics that much, you wouldn't really pay that much attention to what it means, because it's just a generic kind of Queen song. It's never been one of my favorites,
No.
but I don't dislike it on.
Okay, Mikey?
Pretty much the same as Craig. I don't dislike it. I think it's harmless. Do I think it's? I think it could be easily took off this album, and I don't think the album will be any better or worse for it. I certainly agree with John wholeheartedly. I think the lyrics are awful. It's certainly not one of Freddie's best, and like Graham said, it was practically written as a poem for his own, for his own self rather than anything else, and then was later put music to it. One of the interesting things I read, and this is going to take me back to when me and Craig were back at school. I had a friend called Ralph who took great pleasure in changing some of the lyrics of this song. The torsos in my closet turned into tossers in my closet. And the guilt stains was...
Yes, all right. We can make the rest of that up.
Interestingly, Freddie's first stains line was never guilt either. It was the 4-letter C word.
Okay.
He changed it to the 3-letter C word, and then changed it to guilt stains, quite funnily enough. So yeah, it's not a favourite of mine. I don't skip it. But he's had finer moments for sure.
Yes, I think there might be something in what you said there, Grae. Did he just put it down to capture how he was feeling at the time that Lennon was shot? That might be it, and maybe he didn't want to touch it. Maybe he just wanted to put it out like that. I don't know.
It's something that Mikey's just said about, and was it you that said about the first side being sparse? No, it was Mikey said about the first side being sparse and lacking some of the lacking some of the harmonies and the layers and stuff. And if you think about this and that comment, although it took them an inordinate amount of time to record this album, it was primarily due to lifestyle, not due to writing. And I think a lot of these songs lack the effort, the production, right, let's take it down. What do we want to do for this bit? How do we make this bigger? Where does the surge come from? And all that they've done on everything up to this point.
Yeah.
So everything up to this point is operatic in scale and grand and what have you. Even the simple songs like My Melancholy Blues and all that kind of stuff that just blow you away with the way they're done. This doesn't do that. And I think the album itself is all the worse for it, because there's a lot of songs that could have been much better if they'd spent the time rather than fought with each other.
But I think one of you touched on it earlier. I don't think they were getting on particularly as a four, were they? So it wasn't conducive to that sort of working together, was it? Next track is Roger Taylor's Calling All Girls.
This is an odd one because we never got this as a single in the UK, did we? I think it was just like
US, Canada, and Australia.
Yeah, I mean the video for we've had a laugh on. I mean they do the dial up the THX 1138 kind of
completely
bizarrely. How I mean that's a very deep dive for a lot of people. George.
Sorry, you need to explain that to not.
I was in the middle of explaining, and then you interrupted. Yeah, so the George Lucas experimental film that he made before Star Wars with the sparse white interiors and the robotic police with the metallic faces. So that's all.
And that is the video with the band members.
Yeah, but how that fits to the song about calling all girls, it just doesn't. Doesn't
we'll go back to
marry.
the We'll go back to the toast and stuff piled on top of it. I think that's probably how it. That's probably why it makes sense.
Back to the cocaine onto us.
Yeah,
But I think
it's a catchy number though.
it's a catchy tune. It is. It would never have worked as a single in the UK. But I think it's quite. And is it lightweight? I don't know. It's not a song I would skip, and I like it. But
Grae?
I love it, and like I say, I love it because it's catchy and it's kind of an earworm type thing, with the repeated lines and all that kind of stuff. And I posted this messages today, and people who were Queen fans knew exactly what I was talking about straight away.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's a catchy number, and is it a really strong Queen song? God no, it's a great pop song.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Mikey?
Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
Well, Roger Taylor wrote it, so I'm going to.
Hey.
It sounds a little bit Roxy Music-ish to me. Almost,
yeah.
maybe even album Stardust. I don't know. There's that
Album
diddling,
Stardust.
ding, ding, ding,
Wow.
diddling, ding, 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 ding. That little riff thing going on. I think it's amazing. Roger does some guitar feedback noises as well, which kind of drone in the background. It's just got so many layers to it. But yes, I agree. It's an out and out pop soft rock song. Nothing to not like about it. I don't think. I think it's great. Should it have been a single? Probably not. And it's a shame actually because it's Roger's first ever A-side release. Bless him, and it got confined to territories where it didn't do that well. Although it got to number 30 in Canada, so I don't think that's to be sniffed at. A shame of things to come because obviously he did, write some stonkers in the future.
I was it was never played live in Europe.
No, it's on. There's a Japanese version on Live at the Ball.
Live at the Ball, yeah. It was never played live in Europe.
No.
But it's odd that there was a video. They made a video for this, but the next song, Las Palabras, they didn't actually do a proper music video for that, did they?
No.
And that was Las Palabras, was that a proper UK?
It was a UK single, yeah.
So it's odd how there was a promo for the previous, but not for this one.
So Las Palabras came out on the 1st of June, whereas Calling All Girls was released mid-July in the US. I think Calling All Girls would have been a great UK single, I have to say. If Las Palabras is a single, then Calling All Girls is a single for me. They're pretty much on a par. It's a good track.
I love it, yeah.
On then to track 4 on side 2, Brian May's Las Palabras de Amor, The Words of Love. Craig?
I really like this song. I always have. And it's a shame that there isn't a promo video for this, but there is an interesting Top of the Pops performance, but it was a recorded Top of the Pops performance. It wasn't in front of a crowd, and it's just entertaining to see that Brian is playing a keyboard, a grand piano, and then doesn't pick up his guitar till the very, very end. But it's just, it's funny to see because they really should have had Spike on the keyboards there and let Brian do his miming for the guitar parts all the way through. But no, I think it's a nice tune, and it's almost a love letter for the South American fans, wasn't it? A bit like Montreal is for the Marillion fans. It's
on. You say there's no video, but it's on Greatest Video Hits Volume 2. So what is that?
It was the thing that Craig was speaking about. Yeah, it's like it's a pre-recorded video for Top of the Pops. But that's all it ever was.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I love it.
It's a bit of a maligned Queen song, isn't it? But I don't see why. It's nice, and it's got some really nice Brian May classic guitar bits in it, especially the end.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a low key anthem for them, isn't it?
It was performed at the Freddie tribute concert by Zucchero.
And it is amazing.
Yeah,
I love his voice. And I love the lyrics to it. I love the plaintive performance to it. I love the harmonies. I think it's looked over, and I don't know why, because
me neither.
it's really such a beautiful song.
Yeah, I agree.
It's one of the highlights of the album for me.
Yeah, it's a classic Brian May tune, isn't it? In the old style.
Very much so.
Yeah. Go on, Mikey.
I bloody love this. I think it's absolutely stunningly beautiful. Again, it's another one of those tracks that sounds simple in hindsight, but when you listen to it, it's far from it. That's just like a digital sound processor noise, which is whirling in the background. I think that's absolutely wonderful. And the bit of the song where the harmonies click in and the two sing the line "This Night and Nevermore," honestly, it gives me goosebumps. One of the highlights on the album for me. Don't know why it's quite so overlooked. I mean, it got us what? It spent like quite a while. The charts had hung around a while. It got to number 17 in its 5th week, so it was a climber. People were buying it. And the single cover with that little baby's face on, "What's Not to Love?" Apart from the fact that throughout the entire campaign they used the same Queen font, and on this single they changed it, which makes my eyes twitch. But funnily enough, it must hold something to Roger Taylor as well, because years later there was a single new.
How have I never noticed that before?
Which reuses the little baby. So just
is it the same picture?
It's just different exposure, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
what's that? Is that New Dark Ages?
That's New Dark Ages.
Yeah.
But
I love that track.
Yeah, me too.
It's the words. If you look at verse 2 could be from H. "One foolish world, so many souls, senselessly hurled through the never-ending cold, and all for fear and all for greed. Speak any tongue, but for God's sake we need." And then it goes into it's just gorgeous.
Yeah. Fantastic track, it really is. Okay. On to the most recent single from the album, Cool Cat.
Yeah, that was was it a couple of years ago that?
It was an Record Store Day release.
Yeah.
Was it 2022, Mikey? 22
24.
24? What was it?
Yeah, 24. And as of recording this podcast right now, queenonline.com have actually still got copies of this beautiful pink 7-inch vinyl. And on the flip side, there's an instrumental version of it, which you won't get anywhere else. John's grimacing.
How have I lived all this time without that?
Well, exactly. They've even put all 4 faces on, even though we well know there's only 2 people on this track.
Yeah. Go on then. We'll start with you, Mikey, on Cool Cat.
Back in the day, I bloody hated it. I would literally, if I was playing Hot Space, this is where it stopped for me. The last 2 tracks never got played.
Yeah.
Now, in hindsight, I can say it for what it is. As with Backchat, this was the other song that was done shortly after Under Pressure, and I think you can tell. I'll let somebody else talk about the David Bowie connection. For me, the thing that jars the most is Freddie's falsetto, and I know he gets away with it sometimes, but to me, it's kind of veering on like the disco diva Sylvester territory. I think it's just pushing it a bit much, but musically, it's sparse, but it's rich, and I actually now in hindsight really like the track. I still think the singing just doesn't quite do it for me. But,
yeah, I'm like you. I think it's too much falsetto in it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
Go on, Craigie. Do you want to enlarge on that, or is that your review?
Pretty much it. I'm a bit like what Mikey was initially with it. It's not one of my favorite songs on the album, And I mean, you know fine well, I absolutely love Freddie's voice. He's just the world lost something at the end in 1991, and it's there's so many of us who've still not got over it. You know, nearly like 34 years later. But this one here, no, it's not for me. It just the falsetto's got a lot to do with it.
Is it
I
better?
think,
Is it better than 1 Year of Love?
I like 1 Year of Love.
Get
The
lost!
two.
What a
Oh,
steaming turn that is!
God,
Get away!
Right, we need to do a kind of magic because you and I are going to fall out, Mezza.
Fucking 1 Year of Love!
Oh,
You're
This is
kidding!
better than Pain is So Close to Pleasure.
What?
Which is an-
Cool cat!
I like Pain is So Close to
Pain So Close to Pleasure better than either of those two songs. Anyway, Grae, what do you think of Cool Cat? We've gone off topic. Sorry, it's my.
So, it's funny because earlier on I was going to say something along the lines of, for me, this is Queen's Prince album.
What?
I know it sounds a bit weird, but it's that kind of disco funk type stuff that
No, I get that. Yeah, totally.
and
Have you heard Prince?
right, yeah, I have heard Prince.
Right.
This is Camille. This is his.
No.
It's not as good,
No.
but it's almost like Freddie did when he started doing this this falsetto stuff for an entire song, rather than like hitting notes and like singing normally and then going up and breaking it and doing. When he did these character songs, it was almost as if he was trying to be somebody else, and I can forgive him for it. Do I like the song? Not really.
No.
Would I take it off the album? Not as quickly as I take the next song off the album.
No. I mean, Mikey's alluded to it. There's obviously, well, maybe not obviously. There's an early version out on YouTube where Bowie's backing vocals are on it as well.
Because he asked for it to be taken off, didn't he?
Did, and I've played it tonight. I don't know if I played it before ever. I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's authentic to me.
Sounds like mumbling nonsense to me.
So it's interesting because it says on Wikipedia that the album, that the track is available. Yeah, and you said that you've got it on YouTube. However,
it's in 2 or 3 places on YouTube.
Yeah. However, there is a on is it You Discover Music, which is the universal thing?
Yes.
It says it has never been released, has been destroyed, and there is no existing copy even on bootleg.
Yeah.
So with you saying it doesn't sound real to me, I wonder if maybe
it does. I mean, I'm not a Bowie fan by any means. The only time, well, Craig and I both saw him was at the Dave Gilmour gig. But it's just a sort of, I mean, in the one hand, it's a sort of off the cuff backing vocal, which we will talk about Under Pressure in a minute, which is full of that sort of thing. So it could be kosher. It just doesn't sound to me as good as something David Bowie would do, which is
maybe why he asked for it to be taken off.
Absolutely, which is probably why he did say that. But I'm like Mikey. I never really got on with Cool Cat. It's okay now. Yeah, it's better than 1 Year of Love, that's for sure.
You're not a Highlander fan, though, are you?
Craig baited again.
You're not a Highlander fan, though, are you?
No, I'm not. No.
Yeah, that's fine.
Speaking of which, if you are, Craig, we need to talk after this about Henry Cavill.
Oh yes.
Well, listeners, you'll never know, and neither will I. But there you go.
Mikey's a massive Highlander fan as well, so.
Hi, boys. All right. I'm outnumbered again.
We can't all be fans. There can only be one.
Hey!
Don't lose your head.
Okay. I'm going to start with Mr. Tennick. The last track on the album is Under Pressure.
Get me tin helmet on.
With David Bowie.
It was a great single. It was an absolutely great single. It was
credited to Taylor, Mercury, Bowie, Deacon, and May.
Well, it should have been May, should it?
Well, no. I mean, yeah.
And he's been quite open about
it. I think it's the sound of the door slamming, isn't it, May?
Yeah. It's a great single, but it's from that era. Well, no, it's like, hang on a second. It's from that era of Bowie and Jagger, Bowie and Queen, all the, Elton John and Kiki D, all these people that do like the pairings up of people that were, and it's a really good fun song. Is it a Queen song? Does it deserve to be on this album? I don't think so. I reckon the only reason it's on this album is because David Bowie was meant to be doing Cool Cat. He took it off and they gave him this is a sympathy vote. I don't think it should have been on the album.
I agree with you. I think the only reason it's on here is because it wasn't on the original Greatest Hits in the UK.
Ah, right, okay, yeah.
Was it
It
for
was on- it
timing
was on-
wise? Was it?
It was on American. I think it's on the American copies. Is it?
Was it?
It's on one of the non-UK copies.
I believe so. Yeah.
But it's not on the UK Greatest Hits, which I think is why they tagged it on. I'm with you. It shouldn't really be on this album. But then you're left with Cool Cat ending this album, and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, but there's. Yeah, okay.
You can't end the album on Cool Cat, can you?
No, you can't.
No.
But but similarly, wasn't, if you jump ahead to Kind of Magic, One Vision wasn't really part of Kind of Magic. That was a single in '85 for the Iron Eagle film.
It was, but
Was.
sneak preview of our review of Kind of Magic. It's the best track on the fucking album.
And the fact that they left the words fried chicken in it. So.
Yes, brilliant.
But also, listeners, we're not doing Kind of Magic for a long time yet, so don't get it.
No,
Yeah,
no,
hold your breath.
no. There's a short version of it. There's a preview. Mikey, Under Pressure.
No pressure then.
No.
Hey,
No. No. See, I never liked it. I like some David Bowie stuff, but I think he was going through his Let's Dance phase at the same time that Queen were going through the Hot Space phase. And I think, short of it, I mean, he only popped into the studio to say hello, and then, they were doing some jamming ready for the new album session start, and it was like, oh, I'll have a go with this. And then the Clash of Five Egos thing happened, and then the single gets spat out.
Have you?
Bloody god-awful video.
Have you? Sorry to interrupt you. Have you seen that? Again, I've been on YouTube. Have you seen that early demo of the track "Feel Like"?
Yes.
So that's the sort of maybe the intro structure of Under Pressure, isn't it? With a more Brian type.
Absolutely, and I think that's why Brian got pissy, because his stuff was took off it when Bowie came in and started having his say.
Because Bowie was the one who
kind of fine with it. It was like, oh, David Bowie's in the studio,
wasn't it Bowie who insisted on like the clicks and the claps?
Well, he came up with them, yeah. So yeah, I think as a novelty, I get it. Should it have been on the album? No. I mean, for me, the B-side's better than the bloody A side. And even that isn't fantastic.
No.
But
you only like you only like Soul Brother because it lists other Queen songs.
Well, that's it. Name checks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, my 1989 head would have said, lose Cool Cat, lose Under Pressure, make Last Palabras de Amor the last song, and put Soul Brother on before it.
Well, it's an idea.
But we're stuck with what we're stuck with, aren't we? So Under Pressure, I don't mind it. In Queen's canon, it's never been one that I play often. And I just don't think it fits on the album. We all know the reasons why it's on there, but I personally don't think it does.
Greg, you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, if I take my Queen fan head off and put my just pop music fan
Planet
head
Music
on,
head.
not be Planet, it'll be pop music head.
All right.
On. It is such an iconic song, and you think about it, for a jam that was thrown together by five big egos and was thrown out to be as commercially successful as what it was, and iconic around the world, because there's so many people who are not necessarily Queen fans who absolutely love this song. I'm not going to take that away from them.
No.
And I don't mind it. Lyrically, it's quite throwaway. It's trying to be deeper than it is, but it isn't. But I don't mind the song at all. I think you're right. It doesn't really necessarily fit on this album. But you can't take away how much of an iconic song it is, though. And I've got to give it respect for that.
Yeah.
Prefer the Lennox Bowie version.
Well, there you
I think I
go.
prefer the
The
non-existent
light
version.
version they did.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a part of Queen's classic history, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm with Mikey. It's not one of the best songs for me by any stretch. But does it deserve to be there? Maybe not. But it needs to be on a Queen album somewhere, doesn't it? So overall, that's the album. Do you want to talk about versions or?
Yeah, because you've got was it 2011 when they did all
a 2 CD remasters.
And can I just do my usual? My God, EMI, you could have done a bloody better job of this. Even though these Parlophone reissues, or these are Universal ones?
No, they're on Ireland. They're Universal, but they're on Ireland.
Yeah. I mean, they could have done. I mean, until they did the big nice deluxe thing on the Miracle, the stuff was there to make a lot better deluxes.
No, News of the World's got a better deluxe.
Yeah, but when was that released?
Before the Miracle.
Before the Miracle.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was after
the remasters.
2011 one.
Yes, but News of the World is the first half decent deluxe they put out.
Yeah.
I have to say, I think you'll be waiting a very, very long time. I think the devil will be skating to work in the morning before we see a deluxe version of this. I don't think Brian and Roger would actually have it particularly high on the list of things to do.
No, I mean, the bonus EP is just a 5-track thing. Stay in Power live at Milton Keynes Bowl, June 82. Soul Brother, which is the B-side that Mikey was talking about. John Deacon's 7-inch single remix of Back Chat. Action This Day and Calling All Girls live in Tokyo, November 82. So they weren't exactly showering us with unreleased gems there, were they?
But can I just say, to do with our other podcast, the reissues we've had for our other podcast from the 90s and now the current deluxes poop all over these from a great height.
The Marillion reissues.
I wasn't going to say the M word.
Just say it. Just say
it. Yeah, from these 2011 ones they do, but not the new. See the new boxed ones, the ones that are coming out that we've. What is it? Just been News of the World and
Queen.
Cool, yeah.
Queen.
Oh,
One.
and Queen 1. Queen.
Yeah,
it's now
Queen,
called Queen 1.
Queen 1 now, yeah.
Queen.
But these.
No, it's on the front of the big box.
I know it is. I've got it.
But these new ones, yes, they are starting to redress the balance.
They are, but they've got like rogue instrumental discs in them for no apparent reason.
Money.
They're too bloated.
Yeah, it's gone from one extreme to the other, hasn't it? Yeah.
There's reissues of interviews that have come out on other, like on-air interviews, and now repackaged in the Miracle box. And they need to stop doing that. They're just ripping folks off.
Well, if you want to talk bloated, how about, have you seen the new, way off topic, have you seen
Bruce,
the new War of the World stuff?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, that's a ridiculous
the CD release.
Yeah. Mark Owens will be rubbing his thighs in anticipation of that.
16 CD release. I'm like, what? Bugger off.
Yeah. But back to the job in hand, Hot Space. I don't have an original album, Mikey. Do you have an original album?
This is silly.
Here he is holding one up for us. Grae's run off, so I'm assuming he's going to get his original album.
Yeah. The thing I like about the original album is the inner sleeve's got these lovely, lovely, lovely curves to it, which when they've done subsequent pressings, they've gone for full square, which is really annoying. But I've got a first press. There's no barcode on the back.
Yeah.
So it's
shows its age.
It's beautiful. So who thinks it looks like the game Simon from MB Games?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. For me, this kind of harkens back to the Beatles' Let It Be cover, if it was done by Andy Warhol. And funnily enough, I think other bands have taken inspiration from this cover. You've got U2's Pop,
Yeah.
and if you look at the colours of the hues on the faces on the U2 cover, they're in the same colour. And also there was a greatest hits package released by Blur.
Blur was
And
the same thing. Yeah.
again, it's 4 tiles with 4 faces on. Obviously not in the same style, but the colours are the 4 colours that Queen used. The thing that makes me laugh the most, though, is the inner sleeve, because it's almost like the photographer went, "How's the album sessions going?" Click. Because they all look really, really, really pissy on there. But I actually really love that. I love the inner sleeve picture.
It's amazing.
Sleeve, is the inner sleeve not a photo from the same session as the Greatest Hits cover?
It could possibly be. It could possibly be.
It's got that feel about it.
Yeah,
It was photographed by Simon Fowler, so no.
Oh well, no, it won't be. Was it? Was it
because
Jared Mankiewicz? I don't know. I'll have to look that.
No, it was. Oh, what was Princess Margaret's husband called? The photographer.
Litchfield, Patrick Litchfield.
Yeah, Litchfield. Yeah,
Yeah, he did the.
did he?
Greatest
Beg your
Hits,
pardon.
yeah.
Sorry, then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is my original 1982 copy. One of my first 2 records. It's one of the very few records that survived a house fire in 1989.
Wow.
And I'm chuffed to bollocks it did because I love it.
It was already hot.
Yeah.
Hey. See what you did there.
It was the vacuum of space that kept it from setting fire as well. That's the
Yeah.
shit joke.
And then
Well, I'm talking about tight faces and things. I just want to be really, really deep anal here. On all the 7-inch singles, the Queen logo that's printed on the inside of the discs is the logo from Flash.
Yeah.
Which is really, really, really bloody annoying, especially when the logo for each Queen album, previously has been pulled through all the releases. For some reason, the people in the pressing companies were very, very lazy. Just went, "Oh, we've got one. We'll just use that one. It's only been used once before." So, yeah, just thought.
Sorry, listeners, we have to let him get this out. It's part of his therapy.
It is. Otherwise, the amount of drugs we've got to keep him on.
Mikey, talk about the half-speed remaster of this album.
Why?
What do you mean? What? Because it sounds fucking amazing. That's why.
It does sound fucking amazing. It sounds better than what Hollywood Records put out in 1991. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the coloured vinyl box set has been reissued about 4 or 5 times now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think
Which really upsets me, by the way.
Why?
Yeah, me too.
Because it was sold as a limited thing, a single edition at the time.
Yeah.
Doesn't upset me. I bought one of the 3rd repressing, so I'm all right about it.
Yeah, no, I was in the queue for the first one. Push the old credit card to the limit with that. It's a beautiful set, but all of the vinyl sounds absolutely stunning. I've only played through everything once, and it's been put back in its box. And other than what I showed you guys earlier on today, it very rarely gets an outing, but the pressings are amazing.
Well, that's why I said to when you posted earlier on, I went, "Is that from the box set?" And I'm like, I can't even remember what colour that one is in the box set, because that's how I got it out. I played it all once through. I've had it out since my nephew came down, and he started like pouring through my vinyl collection, and then he saw the box. He went, "Is that all of the albums?" And I played a couple of them for him. But I'd forgotten what colour it was. It's a gorgeous.
I have to say, I play mine. You all have a go at me for everything being in plastic sleeves. I play mine box. It sounds amazing.
Oh, I don't buy records not to play them. It's just the fact that I've got other versions that don't have to get a box out.
I'm assuming that the half-speed remaster is the current version available on vinyl. I'm just trying to establish that.
I believe so.
It must be the same cut. They wouldn't have redone it, would they?
I wouldn't have
Don't
thought so, no.
Yeah. It's 28 quid on Amazon at this minute, but any of the Queen albums on half speed remastered just sound wonderful. They really do. So much bottom end, clear, quiet, beautiful. Really good.
They didn't.
It was nice to have Innuendo on double vinyl as well, because
Yeah.
there hadn't been, trimmed and truncated to fit onto the single disc as it was back in the day on the original release. So having that room to breathe in all of its glory was wonderful as well.
Yeah.
This one wasn't done as one up to. Was it only up to Jazz or the Game that did the Japanese the sort of the gold disc things that were done in the late 80s?
Oh,
Don't know.
oh!
I don't think
You could be right. I think it went up to the Game.
I think it went up to the Game.
Yeah,
They are some of the most open sounding Queen releases I've ever had.
Right.
Absolutely blow me away. But they've been done in such a way that you hear things that you're not meant to, just because of some of the tracks. But yeah, I think they stopped before Flash.
Right. Okay.
Which is a shame, because I think these two would have benefited from that. But,
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that we sometimes talk about is whether there's a tour for the album.
They did tour extensively, but was only like 3 dates in the UK, wasn't it? But they were all big ones.
4 in the UK, but they kind of did a little bit of Europe, and they spent a long time in America. So they obviously had the success of the Game and the singles from the Game. So they were trying to build on that, weren't they? They started in Europe in April the 12th in Norway, I believe. Norway was the first one. But they did dates in Austria. And the UK dates were the 29th of May, 82 at Ellen Road in Leeds. 2 nights at the Royal Highland Exhibition Hall in Edinburgh on the 1st and 2nd of June. And then the Milton Keynes Bowl on the 5th of June, which was recorded for Queen on Fire live at the Bowl.
Did you see this tour at all or not?
I didn't. I had tickets for Ellen Road and I didn't get there. I was really quite upset. My mate Neil went and had a fantastic time. I didn't get to see it, no.
Oh.
But this is a good On Fire live at the Bowl is a good record of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an entertaining gig. I watched it last week. And I hadn't seen it for years because I don't actually have the DVD of it.
So it was released as a video first, and not as an album.
Yeah, it was a VHS at first. Yeah.
The album was released sometime later, wasn't it?
The album was
I think the album was released on DVD.
2004.
Yeah. But I remember sitting. In fact, the guy that I mentioned earlier, Craig, he lent me Live at the Bowl or Live on Queen on Fire.
Yeah.
And it's the only VHS I've borrowed from somebody that I completely chewed and ruined.
No.
My player just went, and he never forgave me. Never forgave me. Even when I bought him a replacement, he was like, no, not good enough. It's like, but it's such a brilliant show.
It is. I mean, Queen's set list are renowned for not really changing too much. They sort of evolve like glaciation, don't they? But this is the track list for Live at the Bowl is Flash, The Hero, We Will Rock You Fast Version, Action This Day, Play the Game, Stay in Power, Somebody to Love, Now I'm Here, Dragon Attack, Now I'm Here Reprise, Love of My Life, Save Me, Back Chat, Get Down, Make Love, Brian May Guitar Solo, Under Pressure, Fat Bottom Girls, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Boho Rap, Tie Your Mother Down, Another One Bites the Dust, Sheer Heart Attack, We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions, God Save the Queen. It's a fucking brilliant set.
It's a big spread of the career, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So really,
and the stuff from Hot Space on it is really, really heavy as well.
It's fast, isn't it? Yeah.
And fast. It's so driven.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure why they played them fast. I agree with them playing them heavier, but I think I don't know. I think it spoils it a little bit for me, the speed at which they go.
It's almost like an alternate version.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing to hear. I mean, Brian Rip Ross through this stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And I think he's, like, don't worry, I'm still here.
I think they pulled together, didn't they? Because they were obviously aware of what was being said about it, so they thought, we'll show you.
Absolutely. But when you see so many of the Game tracks in there, especially stuff like deep cuts like Dragon Attack, it's like it's an amazing song, isn't it? Yeah. They hold up as much as anything that they play from the Game from Hot Space on the tour. It's it's a stonking set list. It really is.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. Shame none of us saw it. I'm sure we'd have all liked to have been there. Final thoughts on Hot Space then. Craig?
Much maligned, doesn't deserve it. I think it's an entertaining album, and it is. I admit it's not one that I go back to loads, but anytime I do go back to it, I thought, oh yeah, I enjoy this, don't I?
Yeah. Grae?
I love it. Like I say, it's got a special place for me. One of the first things I bought. Although I like the band, it was the first album that was mine. It's brilliant. It's got pop songs, it's got rock songs, it's got love songs. It covers all the bases. Is it a Queen album? Very definitely. It's very much a transition album, though. Yeah. Like Mikey says, it's the start of it's a continuation of Jazz in the Game going forward into what happened next. And I love it.
Yeah. Mikey?
Yeah, I stand by what I said. I don't think you would have got the works or Kind of Magic without this being part of the back catalogue. In some ways, I wish they'd push themselves just a little bit further. If you're going to be that daring and risky, dial it up, you know. I think sometimes when any band release something which is slightly maligned by the fans, that gives you good enough reason to dig it out and find out why, because you know for a fact there's going to be some absolute gems on the albums that the fans hate, because they're doing something for themselves as much as they are for the, you know, it's like they're testing themselves, they're pushing the boundaries. And there's songs on this which are as good as, if not better than what's gone previously. I certainly think that if you haven't heard the album, or if you just go, oh, it's a dance album, put it to bed, pick it up, put it on and have a listen to it. And as an apology from previous, the gay club that Freddie Mercury used to frequent was called the Mine Shaft. And that was the one which a lot of fans think that he pulled the arrows from, because it was, you know, go here for this, go down there for this. They had a lot of neon arrow signs in that building, so maybe we will never know.
All right. I'm just going to say that I love this album, bar a couple of tracks. It's still classic Queen to me. It's, as Graham said, it's a transitional album, though they're starting to go somewhere else. But if you've never heard it, or if you think you've heard it and don't like it, dig it out again. You might just be surprised. We'd really love to hear what you think about the album. So please let us know in our Facebook group. And we will be back soon-ish with another album. We don't know what it is yet. We'll talk about it amongst ourselves. But we'll come and bore the pants off you about another classic album soon. I just want to thank Mikey Kay for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Grae Tennick.
Thanks for putting up with my brethren. Yeah.
Hey, you're always welcome. And thank you to my other half, Craig.
Thank you, Mrs.
Thank you. Almost had a domestic tonight, didn't we? But we're just about.
Oh, is it? After 30 odd years, we still haven't had one. We're fine.
We want to thank you very much for listening. Please mention the podcast to friends if you've enjoyed what you've heard, and if you haven't,
still tell them, because then you can listen. Then they can listen and go, "How shite it is."
And if you haven't, you've been listening to The Rest is Entertainment. It's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Take care.
And stay alive.
Yay.
Or keep yourself alive.
Yeah.
Oh. Hey.
Thanks for listening
to Planet Music from the makers of Planet Marzipan.
If you like what you've heard, please like and subscribe, and maybe even join our Facebook discussion group.
You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com.